Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Hey Descendants and Zombies fans, what's going on? I'm your host Jonathan Clarke, the host of the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the world right now, with over 65,000 channel views having happened for this channel because of you guys and your outpouring of love and support. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited about the success of Descendants and Zombies. We have seen so much happen for them, especially in the summer of 2025. It's been the greatest summer of my life because the greatest honor I ever had was having the honor and the privilege of broadcasting for each and every one of you and commentating on the Worlds Collide Tour and everything Descendants and Zombies. Of course, in this same summer, we saw the premiere of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, receiving rave reviews and going to #1 on Disney+. It outbeat everything, from Snow White to everything Marvel-related, everything National Geographic-related. It was a fun time being a fan of Descendants and Zombies, and seeing its rapid-fire ascension to the #1 position as the #1 most-watched movie on Disney+. It was such an honor. I knew it was going to be #1 because of the new characters coming into the franchise. I was so excited about the story of Nova and Victor being looked at for the very first time, and seeing the premiere of characters portrayed by Freya, Skye, and Malachi Barton, who did a fabulous job. I have to say this. And I've seen some photos earlier today of Freya Skye dressed up in Mickey Mouse apparel, and it got me to thinking of how big of a fan I was of Mickey Mouse all of my lifetime. I've been a fan of Mickey Mouse. I'll tell you a story. I've been a fan of Mickey Mouse ever since I was about 5 years old. And that means I was a huge super fan of Mickey Mouse because of my mom and my grandmother coming together and buying me all this Mickey Mouse merch, which you see behind me, just some of it. I've had Mickey Mouse stuffies, Mickey Mouse pajamas, Mickey Mouse underwear, Mickey Mouse hats, everything. I've even got Bubble Bath inspired by Mickey Mouse in the back there. You guys just can't see it. So because of my parents buying me everything Mickey Mouse related, even video games for whatever console I was a big fan of when I was growing up, from Super Nintendo to Sega Game Gear, you name it, Mickey Mouse became a very valuable asset to me and a very valuable part of my life because it really inspired me to be a kind person. So when I saw Freya Skye donning all this Mickey Mouse apparel, the Mickey Mouse wizard hat, the Mickey Mouse t-shirt, which she actually was seen wearing at the Worlds Collide Tour for one of the 43 appearances she made, I never felt so honored, because I think that me and Freya Skye, it was at that moment I realized that me and Freya Skye would probably get along, and we would have a lot of fun, playing board games and, talking about our passion for Mickey Mouse. It's really cool how Freya Skye, reminds me of myself and probably reminds all of you and what your interests are. It's so cool how she tries to relate to everybody out there who's been a fan of her. That's why I predict that she's going to be the next Taylor Swift without a doubt. There is no doubt in my mind that she is going to be the next Taylor Swift. And I say this because if in 2006 Taylor Swift can release a self-titled album called Taylor Swift with the single Tim McGraw going to #1 almost instantly, which has been redistributed by Big Machine Records countless amounts of times, and we can be celebrating the release of Demi Lovato's debut album, which was called Don't Forget, because of songs that was on the album featured by the Jonas Brothers. On the Line was on that album too, which skyrocketed the album to #1 almost instantly over 17 years ago. I think that 17 years from now, she's going to be in the conversation for being the next Taylor Swift, and I say that with 100% confidence, because you think about the energy she brought to the Worlds Collide Tour. If there was anybody who brought that tour to life, it was definitely Freya Skye, hands down. And I have all the respect in the world for her. Huge shout out to her label, huge shout out to her management company, Hollywood Records, for making her into a superstar faster than anybody. Because I can never remember a superstar going to #1 as fast as what she has. Every song has made sense to me that I've heard from Freya Skye up to this point. You can talk about Fake It as much as you want. You can talk about Gold's Gone as much as you want, and you can criticize it. But I think that the people who put it over are the most loyal Freya Skye fans in the world. Over the past couple of weeks, I've made a lot of videos devoted to Freya Skye's success, and I will continue to make a lot of videos devoted to Freya Skye's success, because thinking about Mickey Mouse and thinking about her passion for board games and video games and getting plain cheeseburgers at McDonald's brings back fond memories of when I used to go to McDonald's at 3 a.m. in the morning after DJing. And you haven't lived until you end up at a McDonald's drive-thru after DJing until 3 a.m. every morning. You don't know where you are, you don't know what you're doing until you get your hands on that plain cheeseburger. So I can kind of relate to Freya Skye for her passions about McDonald's, board games, video games, and Mickey Mouse. Thank you so much, Freya. Thank you so much for being a part of our lives and inspiring us to really hold on to a dream and achieve that dream, because that's exactly what she did. All of her life, all she wanted to do was be on stage and perform for each and every one of us and inspire each and every one of us to give us something to run away with and to believe in. And she was able to do that. So do I think that she deserves criticism? No, I don't. With the conversation now revolving around the reboot of Camp Rock with Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas making appearances in this movie, I think that Disney is trying to reboot franchises of old. But no matter how many times they try to reboot franchises of old, talking about Camp Rock or Hannah Montana, the Hannah Montana reunion is on tap for next year. 20 years of Hannah Montana in the making. But the thing is, no matter how many things you try to reboot, I think there will never be a franchise that will become as revered as what Descendants and Zombies has become. You think about the fan support. How many people are best friends now because of Descendants and Zombies, because they heard Bridget's message of how a profound amount of kindness in somebody's life can make a slight difference. How people can stay friends for forever and always, and true love really does exist. Because of the powerful messages of Descendants and Zombies. This is why Descendants and Zombies has become the most revered franchise of all time, and I've never felt so honored to devote the rest of my life to talking about Descendants and Zombies. And I want to clear the air for each and every one of you guys. I know that you've been waiting on somebody to upload videos about Descendants and Zombies every single day, even if that means for the rest of their life. I know he or she has showed up on their YouTube channel and they promise you Descendants and Zombies videos that never emerge, that never seem to surface, that never seem to happen. But I give you my word, every single day, even with midnight premieres thrown in there from time to time, there will always be a video uploaded on this YouTube channel, regardless of what gets in my way or what happens to me in my lifetime. These videos will forever and always be here for each and every single person who has ever believed in the franchises, just as much as what I have, if not more. Because I think there are so many millions of fans of Descendants and Zombies, and it shows with the outpouring of love and support that you guys give these franchises all the time on social media, especially on YouTube, with over 600,000 fans really falling in love with this franchise by YouTubing your favorite Descendants and Zombies songs because you guys love the music, or your favorite moments from Descendants and Zombies. My favorite moment from Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires came in the form of how Victor and Nova had forever and always seen each other in their dreams. And I always talk about this moment because I think that for everybody in this world, they've seen somebody in their dreams that they've often wanted to spend the rest of their lives with. That they wanted to get to a point where they knew that this was going to be a moment that would count. That this person would be the one that they'd want to stay with for forever and always. Regardless if we saw it through Victor and Nova's eyes or the eyes of Zed and Addison, who became the most revered couple in Disney Channel and Disney Plus history. Because there's no couple that can even hold a candle or come close to them, in my opinion. I think that everybody saw themselves through the eyes of a moment from either Zombies or Descendants and thought about their own life and the situations they were faced with, how their best friend always helped them out of predicaments or situations like we saw Red and Chloe do many times throughout the Descendants franchise, regardless if it was trying to help each other find their place in the world, a battle with a Jabberwocky, dealing with the consequences of time travel, which will be felt in the upcoming Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland. And man, I'm so excited about the opportunities that Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland are going to be presenting. All the conversations about the new characters traveling from afar to partake in this Kingdom Cup Games event. This is going to be a first time ever for the Descendants franchise, providing us with more action, more unpredictable moments, and moments that have yet to be created that we're going to become enthralled by and we're going to be discussing for forever and always. I think there's going to be a favorite moment in Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland, just as there were so many favorite moments in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. And as much as I love that moment between Victor and Nova when they discovered that they had met after seeing each other in countless dreams, I go back to that final kiss from Zed and Addison on top of that hill near the conclusion of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. It was at that moment their story had been realized to have been told and completed. And that's where all the criticism came in following their final kiss. Because they believed that this moment was a long time coming. It should have happened sooner. I know, I get it. But the thing is, I always and forever believed that Zed and Addison's story is far from over. Where did they go? What did they do? What did they amount to? What became of them? I think there are so many unanswered questions. We've kind of been left in the dark. And regardless if we get an animated special or a sequel to Zombies 4, which will obviously be Zombies 5, I think there is room forever and always for them to make cameos, either as camp counselors or to offer guidance to Nova and Victor, because there's never enough time for guidance to be shown to people in a franchise who are just getting their legacy started. Because that's what the song Legends in the Making forever and always have represented. The chance to have your legacy achieved and solidified. That's what I've always wanted to do, is go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. That's been one of my greatest fears, just fading off into obscurity and being forgotten about. But because of each and every one of you who have always and forever subscribed to this YouTube channel, I know more than I ever have that I have a chance of going down in history of being the greatest of all time, and perhaps a greater chance than I've ever had before. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel, because I think everybody wants to have a legacy and have it forever and always solidified, just as the Zombies cast did in that opening dance number before they went out on that road trip that led them down a road filled with unpredictable moments and unforgettable characters that we forever and always cherish, which is why I believe that the Zombies 4 Down of the Vampire script was the most powerful and most revered of all time. Because we didn't know what was going to happen from one moment to the next. I was like each and every one of you. I was caught up within the moment. I was so excited for the premiere of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. I went out prior to the premiere, hours before it. I bought a slush puppy and I drank the whole thing during the premiere. I sat in front of my TV with a pencil and a piece of paper. I took no notes whatsoever. I didn't prepare anything. And an hour after the premiere, I jumped on my show so excited to talk about it because I believed that Freya, Skye, and Malachi Barton had the most promising futures that anyone who had ever premiered in the Descendants or Zombies franchise before, or any franchise that ever came before it, had. And I still stand to that. Because you think about Camp Rock, you think about Hannah Montana. The music is what made Hannah Montana a success. The music is what made the Jonas Brothers and Demi Lovato stand out when you talk about franchises of old. But everything was a contributing factor to the success of Freya, Skye, and Malachi Barton and the other Descendants and Zombies cast members. Everything about Descendants made sense. You know, sometimes we were left in the dark more times than we ever choose to admit because of Hannah Montana and the Jonas Brothers. I think that the Disney Channel revolution revolved around them a bit too much, and they overshadowed everything else that could have been given a lot of credit during that time. Unquestionably, Disney was at the heights of its popularity, but it's never been more popular because of a franchise such as Descendants and Zombies, and I will forever stand to that, because I really do believe it's going to take something extra special, with an extra boost of kindness, to really get something over more than what Descendants and Zombies is, because Descendants and Zombies is really at a point to take over if it hasn't already. You look at the response to the Worlds Collide Tour, you think about how many people sold out arenas all across the country, and how many arenas have yet to be sold out across the world, because it's only a matter of time before the Worlds Collide Tour takes on leg 2 and goes globally. Going from international to global is a huge success. It's really a milestone. It's going to be an emotional time for fans of Descendants and Zombies, because let me tell you guys something, the crowds overseas are highly energetic and very different from American and Canadian crowds, and I can't wait for Freya, Skye, Kylie Cantrell, all your favorite stars to experience this the way they were meant to experience it. I saw these photos earlier today of Freya, Skye partaking in the Worlds Collide Tour, taking photo shoots of herself wearing Mickey Mouse apparel, and one thing I noticed about her, just as I noticed about her on stage, was her emotion, and how in touch she was with everything she was doing, and how she was having fun. One of the things that I forever and always enjoyed about your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars was how they have fun, and how they love to have fun, regardless of what anybody thinks of them, what anybody's opinion may be, because sometimes people's opinions are taken for what they're worth, and taken out of conception, and misunderstood. Regardless of what anybody's opinion is, they don't care as long as they have the opportunity to have fun and entertain each and every one of you, and that is exactly what the Worlds Collide Tour offered to them. The chance to have fun with each and every one of you, and because of each and every one of you. You showed up at the Worlds Collide Tour in your beautiful outfits with your hair done. You went and bought your merch, your coats, your hats, your hoodies, whatever you bought, and you wore it out of support of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars. You sang along to the songs. You showed up with such high energy and added so much value to a product that needed it. In a time when it needed it, you guys showed up with an outpouring of love and support that was undeniable and will never ever be forgotten. And I think never enough thank yous can be thrown your way. Because if there was one thing I wanted to say to each and every one of you for making this summer the most unforgettable of my life, providing me with an opportunity to talk to each and every one of you about Descendants and Zombies, and for bringing me back, it would have to be thank you. Because Descendants and Zombies fans are the greatest fans in the world, no matter how many people you have subscribed to your YouTube channel. The reality of this is, you can have 500 people subscribe to your YouTube channel about Descendants and Zombies content, but those 500 people are the greatest fans in the world. And I think if more YouTubers had a greater appreciation for the fans of Descendants and Zombies and a greater understanding of Descendants and Zombies and how it's meant to somebody's life, I think there would be more for them to run away with and to celebrate. Because the profound success of this YouTube channel did not happen because I decided to upload Descendants and Zombies content. It happened because of each and every one of you. How you made Descendants and Zombies a global phenomenon. You turned something that started as a whisper into an absolute fantastic production. Something of absolute spectacularity. and I have never felt so honored to be able to provide you with such great commentary, taking something that started as a whisper and having it explode. Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for turning Kylie Cantrell and Freya Skye's careers into that of superstardom. Thank you for making them superstars, because I can guarantee you, if you've never met Kylie Cantrell, if you've never met Freya Skye, one thing that they will take with them for the rest of their lives is not because they're success stories because of Descendants and Zombies. They're success stories because of each and every one of you, for your passion, for your loyalty, and how you've never quit with this never say die attitude exemplified towards Descendants and Zombies. This is why Zed and Addison got to the point they're at, because of how much history that you allowed them to create. You spent time with them over the last 7 years, and time that you will never ever forget. And by the time Zombies 5 happens, many of you will be teenagers, but you'll remember the original Zombies movies and how fun they were to watch, and that will carry over with you into your teenage years. And I venture to say that many of you will still be watching Zombies by the time you're a teenager, so I think that parents shouldn't fear, because I think that Zombies has really touched a place forever and always in our hearts and really become a thing for a family to do together. So too has Descendants, with a rating of 6.4, and Zombies coming behind it with a mere 6.2, separating the two franchises, which isn't by much. This is so cool. How Zombies and Descendants has really changed our lives. We're the best of friends now because of Descendants and Zombies. We love Freya Skye's music. We love Kylie Cantrell's music. We're downloading it off iTunes. We're supporting them by buying the EPs off Spotify and iTunes, blowing them up on the Billboard charts. You know, in 2017, I never thought that I'd see a Descendants song like Chillin' Like a Villain performed by Sophia Carson make it in the top 100 Billboard chart. But it did. Ryan Seacrest couldn't get enough of it. And if I was the host of a Billboard chart countdown show, I probably wouldn't get enough of it, and I DJ'd for a number of years. So I see an appreciation for a song ever before anybody else does, and I know how much effort goes into it. So if there ever was a cast soundtrack that deserved to be on the Hot 100 Billboard chart, it definitely was Descendants 2. And many songs have carried over in years past, because I really do believe that Descendants and Zombies is in the position it is to take over because it deserves to take over. And I think that people like Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim saw that potential in people like Freya Skye and Malachi Burton, and that's why they're really running away with this opportunity. I will never forget that moment on the stage at the Worlds Collide Tour where Malachi Burton threw his arm over Freya Skye and told the world that she was going to be something special. I don't know the venue that it happened in. I would imagine it happened in multiple venues. But she, too, was very appreciative of being caught up and lost in the moment with him, because that duet, A Rewrite the Stars, was a beautiful duet. So, too, was the beautiful duet they performed of Someday. Because you take how powerful of a song that was for Zed and Addison and what that meant to their lives, because they wanted to get to a moment where they would spend the rest of their lives together with Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, and their final scene and their final kiss allowed them to do right before Zed was going to zombie out, telling Addison he loved her. And Addison made that sacrifice to keep Zed in her life. And they realized they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together regardless of what sacrifices they had to make, sacrificing everything for their love. I think eventually we'll see Victor and Nova get to that point, and I'm incredibly excited to see what the future has in store for them, because it's going to be a remarkable thing to witness. It's going to be like rewriting the stars all over again, and I think eventually what we're going to see are them sharing a moment that we will never ever forget, and that passionate kiss, which was really supposed to happen in Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. And here's how I feel about that. You know, you can take as many kiss scenes out of the franchise as you want, but I think that people at 15 years old, you do know what love is, and all you ever want is to be lost in a moment where you know that you found somebody that you could think that you could spend the rest of your life with. So because so many people know what love is at such a young age, I think there was nothing wrong, this is the way I feel about it, with Victor and Nova sharing a kiss just as Zed and Addison. They left that responsibility to Zed and Addison, but I think, you know, you could have gotten away with it, because I think a lot of people would have appreciated that, and it would have told more of a story that has yet to be told about Victor and Nova, because we really didn't know a whole lot about them. We knew more about Zed and Addison because they had a history together going into Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, but what did we know about Victor and Nova? All we knew is that they had seen each other in a reoccurring dream. But because of Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, this was the new cast coming in that were having the torch passed to them, and I think a significant way of doing it would have been for them to fall instantly in love after, you know, exchanging a couple of words in a conversation and just carrying on the franchise. Perhaps they could have taken Zed and Addison out of this franchise, but because of so many unanswered questions, They left them there to, of course, share their final scene and live happily ever after. I'm not going to lie to each and every one of you. As much as I love Freya, Skye, and Malachi Burton, I'm going to miss Zed and Addison. Because Zed and Addison really brought something to life and really gave Descendants and Zombies meaning. If there were two people that you could bring into the conversation or have in a conversation around a dinner table about a power couple for Disney, forever and always you will talk about Troy Bolton and Gabriela Montez from High School Musical's era. And I was a big fan of High School Musical's era, but if I had to choose between two power couples that have become so revered, it would have to be Zed and Addison hands down. For the messages of positive vibes, for how Addison wanted to embrace herself as a werewolf after she found out her family's history with werewolves, so too in Alien by Zombies 3, and how supportive Zed was of it, because all he wanted to do was spend the rest of his life with her. And so too will Malachi Burton and Freya Skye's characters Victor and Nova get to that point. Just wait and see. And by the time it builds up and you give it enough hype, that's what makes it so special, is we're waiting on a moment to happen. You take me. I tuned in to watch Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires because I wanted to hear more than anything in the world Zed and Addison say the words "I love you." Perhaps because I've never heard it enough in my own life, but I just wanted to get them to that point. And because of each and every one of us believing in the Zombies franchise, they too, it happened. And I've never felt so honored to provide you with commentaries and analogies like I've had the honor of doing about Descendants and Zombies. And I look forward to doing it for the foreseeable future, because never enough good things can be said about Descendants and Zombies, because, as I just said, we're all the biggest fans in the world of Descendants and Zombies. And that doesn't mean that you have to have a bunch of Descendants and Zombies merch as your backdrops for your YouTube videos. That doesn't really tell me anything. What you've got to do in your commentaries is tell us why you are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. What scenes in Zombies or Descendants triggered you for being the biggest fan of Descendants and Zombies? What moments made you realize that this was a moment you wanted to get lost in for forever because you were the biggest fan of Descendants and Zombies? What was your favorite song and why? So many people tell us what their favorite songs was. Someday, Legends in the Making, Go My Own Way, Rewrite the Stars. But why? These reaction videos just break down songs. Did it make you think about a relationship that you were in? Did it make you think about a moment that you would have wished would have lasted forever in your own life? Because I think that a lot of people get to a point in time in their lives where Zombies makes them realize that, this could have happened to me, or this could be me. And I'm here to tell you guys that if you are a fan of Descendants and Zombies, there really is nothing wrong with it. It is a special moment when you can, think about Descendants and Zombies in a way that it makes it so special and makes it all worth it. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your life and be your voice of Descendants and Zombies, to have honored this franchise the way it's been meant to be honored for a very long time, because I can really talk about Descendants and Zombies for forever and always. I think that never enough good things can be said about Descendants and Zombies, because these are moments that we've waited on for forever and we're experiencing together, because this is history. And we are all a part of history. I remember somebody saying that years ago to me, and I've used that quote time and time again, just as I've said many times. The most precious commodity in life is time. Why? When you think about it, because it always runs out. And Red and Chloe are going to find that out in Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland, with all the villains they're going to encounter, all the conflict that will ascend from the consequences of time travel, Pink being one of many. And this is going to be really intriguing, one of the most intriguing plots of all time, because never enough conversation can seem to revolve or happen about Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland. But just think about it like this. This time next year, we'll be counting down the hours, the minutes, and the seconds until Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland happens. And this is going to be a whole lot of fun. And this is why this has become my passion. This is something I was meant to do for forever and always. And I just want to be a part of this for forever with each and every one of you, because this really has been the greatest honor of my life. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for how many times you have subscribed to this YouTube channel, how much you have believed in these two franchises, and really exploded this YouTube channel in a way that it's been meant to be exploded for a very long time. I honestly don't know where I'd be without each and every one of you. So keep kindness in your hearts as we edge ever closer to the premiere of Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland, and Zombies 5. Let me say this, whenever it happens. I know people are suggesting it isn't going to happen until at least 2028. That's about 5 years from now. But even if it doesn't happen until 5 years from now, I will upload videos about Descendants and Zombies all the time for each and every one of you. It is the greatest honor of my life, and I love you guys so much, man. Keep kindness in your heart, as I will keep you forever and always in mind. I've got a lot to say where Descendants and Zombies goes, a lot of discussion to get to. We will talk again in just a few hours from now. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. Stay calm and zombie on into the foreseeable future.